doing what alone? What are we trying to get all by itself? The variable. Okay? So if I have an equation like this, if I have, you guys all see it? Yeah, it's kind of low. If I have 2x minus 12 equals 18. This is called a multi-step equation here. The reason why it's multi-step is it's more than one step we have to do in order to get the variable by itself. What we're going to do is we're going to start farthest away from the variable and work our way to the variable. Or it's reverse PEMDAS. Okay, so Braxton, what do you want to do first here? Okay, so how do we move this over? What do we got to do? So the very first thing we're going to do here is we're going to add 12 to both sides. Doing that gets rid of that, and we're left with this. Now the reason why he would add 12 and not divide by 2 first is it's like a reverse PEMDAS, right? Add and subtract is always on the end. So when we're solving equations, it's at the beginning. Okay, Braxton, what do we do next? Why are we dividing? So 2 is being times by x, so to get rid of it, we're going to do the opposite, which is divide by 2, and x is going to equal 15. Okay, any questions so far? Janae, question?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure, Janae?
Yeah.
Okay, what about this one, Janae? You're going to help me. Okay, help me out. What are we going to do? What are we doing first? Okay, so we're going to add 13 to both sides. Doesn't matter that the variable is on the right-hand side now, Janae?
No.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so we're there. Now what, Janae? So we're just going to divide by 3, right? Sometimes when we say stuff like that, I understand, you know what you mean, but sometimes people don't.
Yeah.
So when we say we're going to divide by 3w, sometimes people actually do divide by 3w. The issue is if you divide 3w to both sides, you end up with 1 equals 42 over 3w. So just be careful with that. Any questions so far on solving multi-step equations? Okay? Dre, did you just pray help me? No, that was Braxton. All right, Dre, you're up. You ready? Dre, look at me in the eyes. You're ready. Let's do it. Dre, what's your favorite number? 179? That's a weird favorite number. What makes that your favorite number? Okay, take out your journals. I want that one inside of it, right there. Actually, put both of these in it. It's not very clear, is it? I think that made it worse. Okay. All right. Is it blurry or is it just me?
It's definitely not clear.
Oh yeah. That's the stuff. Okay, here we go. Dre,
Yes.
look at this problem with me. This problem's a little bit funny, right? This actually does look like a one-step equation, but it's not. It's a multi-step. So, Dre, what would you do first?
I would subtract 128 from 170.
Perfect. So we're going to subtract 128 to both sides. Now look what is left over here, Dre.
Negative u.
A negative u equals 51. Okay, Dre, we have an issue here. What's the issue? Yeah, you can't have a negative variable, right? Does everyone understand that we cannot solve an equation with a negative variable? You can't have a negative u equals 51. How do we get rid of a negative? He's just throwing out random math words. Find the conjugate of the denominator by What do you got, Corbin? Yeah, I like this. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to divide both sides by -1. Doing that, a negative over a negative becomes a positive, so that cancels there. And we're going to be left with -51 equals u. Now use right, use a positive, so now that's good. Okay, Kellen, you ready for this one? What do we do? We're going to subtract 146 from each side, which leaves us negative w equals 62. Okay, Kellen. So he actually was going to say something very unique. Could you times both sides by -1? Yeah, same exact thing happens. So instead of dividing there, you can actually times both sides by -1. Then you get the exact same solution. Okay, questions on questions on if the denominator is a negative. I mean, not the denominator. Now you got me saying math words just randomly, Dre. Questions on if the variable is a negative. Easy? Okay. Here we go. If you guys haven't known something yet, I'm calling on you guys today. So hopefully everyone's checked in, paying attention. Because you never know when. No, if you want to write a few of these inside your journal just to have some practice, that's great. Noah! Hello. How are you today? I've had better days. Had to wake up, come teach. Could be just sitting in the house looking at the wall. Okay, Nora, how do I solve this? Good. We're going to add 8 to both sides, which leaves us 4w equals -16. Then what? We're going to divide it by 4, which leaves us w equals what, Nora? Atta girl. Good job. Okay. So those are the very basic understanding exactly what. Actually, we're going to look at no, not that one. Hey, this is a very, very basic understanding of what it's like to solve two-step equations. Now, these things can look extremely difficult. So what we're going to do now is everyone get in the right mind, because we're going to dive into something that I love. And what it is this. I'm going to find it here. I'm going to find one exactly like it is. There it is. You guys ready? Okay. You guys all got your journals out? Mallory? Are you ready? Mallory, just because of how intense this topic that's coming up is, okay? We have -3/5 y minus 7/3 equals -7/2. All right, I'm going to take about 5 minutes here, and I'm going to teach you why you should not be scared of fractions. Something happens when we're in elementary school and when we're in middle school that gets us terrified of fractions, right? I remember being your guys' age. I remember my math teacher going, all right, now we're on to fractions. And there's a part of your soul that dies at that exact moment, right? Everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. I saw it just barely in Dre's face. When I wrote that first fraction, he went like this. Oh God, here we go. Right? It's just like you're getting ready to go to war right here, right? Well, it is what people do. And believe it or not, most of you probably did it, right? We look at this problem right here and we think, that problem is not the funnest looking problem in the entire world. A lot of really weird looking fractions, a lot of things that just don't make a ton of sense. I'm going to teach you how to get rid of fractions before you even start the problem. All right? So what we're going to do, to be able to get rid of fractions, we have to find a common denominator. Now this is something you've been taught since 6th grade, is finding a common denominator of fractions to be able to combine them. But I'm going to show you a different way. When it comes to solving equations, I'm going to show you how to get rid of fractions to make your life easier. Corbin, what is the smallest number that 5, 3, and 2 go into? What do you guys think? Someone help them out too. The smallest number that 5, 3, and 2 go into. Say it louder. 30. Does everyone agree? Does 5 go into 30? Does 3 go into 30? Does 2 go into 30? Good. Does anyone know what 30 is called? That actually has a name. It's called the least common multiple. Okay? Now, with that 30, what we're going to do is this. We're going to times the first term by 30. We're going to times this term by 30. Hopefully you're writing down this inside your journal. And we're going to times that term by 30. So what it's going to look like is 30 times negative 3/5 y minus, and I'm going to put it like this just so you guys can see it, 30 times 7/3, that's not 2/3, 7/3, equals 30 times negative 7/2. Now you don't need to do that step right there. Hopefully you guys can just look at it and be like, okay, 30 times 3/5, so on. And if you need to, you can use a calculator, or you can be really, really great and go right here. I put the negative right there. I just left the minus. So if we have 30 times negative 3/2, what we can do is check this out. This reduces to 1 and a 6, which then we have 6 times a negative 3 is what? Yeah, you can. It doesn't change anything though. Negative 18, right? So the first term now becomes negative 18. So now we have 30 times 7/3, which can reduce to 1 and a 10, which leaves us 10 times 7, which is 70, equals 30 times 7/2, which leaves us 1 and a 15, which gives us 15 times 7, is that 85? 105. Okay, so this is the part I wanted to get to. When you guys got here, that was the problem I gave to you, and most of you about died in your seat. Doing just that, finding the least common multiple, and timesing each term by the least common multiple, we get a new equation that looks like that. One looks a lot better than the other. This is one we've already done 100 times, not 100, 7, 8 times together. Right? This is one that would have to become kind of a nightmare to be able to do. So if we do this, how would I solve this equation, Mason? What would I do first here? We're going to add 70, and I'm going to need some help with a calculator here in a second. So we have negative 18y equals 175. Then what, Mason? Divide both sides by negative 18, and we're left with
negative 9.7.
Okay, hit math enter.
Negative 175 over 18.
All right. I bet it's going to want that. I added 70 to both sides. Okay, and I know that fraction right there looks nasty at the end, but if we would have done this from the very beginning, we would have had the exact same thing, which is a nightmare, right? If we would have added 7/3 to both sides, and then divided both sides, or times both sides by the reciprocal, It would have been an extremely nightmarish problem. Okay, so now we're going to short it up a little. We have 1/3. Oh, that's a fun one. That's an easy one. Equals negative 1/2 x minus 2/7. Why would it do that to us? Holy crap. I should have just came up with my own. Oh, why would it do that? Alright, okay. We have to think of a number that goes that 3, 2, and 7 all three go into. So let's go through 7. Do they all go into 7? Do they all go into 14? Do they all go into 21? 2 doesn't. Do they all go into 28? 3 doesn't. Do they all go into 35? 2 doesn't. 42. Yeah, they all go into 42. Why would you do this? Alright, so we're going to times all the terms by 42. Now you guys have calculators. I don't, so I'm just going to assume you're going to plug these things into your calculator, which I hope you do. Why? Yeah, you son of a gun. Okay, well, luckily I don't, that's part of the game. Here we go. So 42 times 1/3 is 14. 42 times negative 1/2 is negative 21x. 42 times 2/7, is that negative 12? Yep, negative 12. Look how much easier that problem is below it. Daxton, no sleeping. Daxton, what do you do all night? You video game all night? Because you come in every morning and you are so tired. Daxton, do I need to come to your house and sing you lullabies at night? Get you to sleep at a good hour? Daxton, look how much easier this problem is. Look how much easier on the eyes this problem is compared to this problem. This problem right here is like that when you're walking down a street in Salt Lake and there's that dude that's yelling at people and screaming at people, you know, this is that dude that you kind of look at the problem, you're like, oh, hello, right? And this is like you're walking down the street and there's a pretty girl or guy and you're like, all right, right? There's a difference. One's a little nicer on the eyes than the other. This one's a little nicer on the eyes. Okay, here we go. Whose turn? Kennedy, solve this one for me. That a girl. Okay, so we have 26 equals negative 21x. Kennedy. Nice freaking job. And we get this funky looking fraction. Is it okay to get weird looking fraction answers?
Yeah.
You betcha. Well, it just doesn't look normal. Alright, so today, whoa, time out before I go any farther. If I see this today, that's an act of terrorism. You write a mixed number in math anymore. Remember, we talked about this day one. We haven't really been in the world of fractions yet till today. If you write a problem as an answer like that,
But what if it says it's simplest form?
that is simplest form.
That's a little easier on my eyes though.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But you'll find out from here on out, no math class ever will accept an answer like this. I'm just trying to prepare you because when you go to Mrs. Yates' class when you're a junior, or even next year as a sophomore, and if you happen to write that, like I will get like angry and kind of insult you a little. She'll throw a book at you. Okay? We don't write mixed numbers. Irregular fractions is what we write. Right, Kellen? We don't want books to hit us in the face. Well, okay. All right, I'm going to get your homework going. I can't get the internet to work very good today.